Hi everyone, today I am going to tell you the next part of Draupadi Swayamvara, and this one is a story from the Mahabharata series. So let me begin the story. That was Draupadi Swayamvara. So after taking farewell from the Gandharva king Chitrasen, all the 5 Pandavas with Mother Kunti, they proceeded towards Pancha. While going on the way, they met a group of Brahmins. And seeing these 5 brothers, the Brahmins asked, "Where are you going to? And where have you come from?" Then with a very soft voice, Yudhishthir said, "Oh Brahmins, we are 5 brothers with our mother, and we have come from Ekachakra." Then the Brahmin said, "Okay, then why don't you join with us? We are going to Panchal, and we heard that there would be a great festivity. We are going to witness the Swayamvara of King Drupada. If you want, you can join with us." And these 5 brothers, they also said, "Yes, we want to see and witness the Swayamvara too." And the Brahmins asked them to join with them, and they all proceeded together. After a long march, they reached at the southern part of Panchala, where Drupada was the king. The Brahmins went to stay in different places, while these 5 Pandavas, they stayed in a potter's house. They were amazed looking at the Panchala's kingdom. It was beautiful and well decorated for the festival, for Draupadi's Swayamvara. Now, King Drupada and Dronacharya, they maintained their friendship outwardly, because King Drupada could never forget or forgive the humiliation he received from Dronacharya. Because once Dronacharya went to Drupada's kingdom and asked him he recalled their friendship. That time, Drupada told him, "How can a beggar be a friend of a king? And you are simply a beggar, and I am the king of this Panchal. So our friendship cannot be possible. Okay, if you want, I can give you food and shelter for one night." That humiliation Dronacharya could never forget. He wanted to teach him a lesson. He came back from Drupada's kingdom, and after completion of the royal princess, he asked all the Kaurav princes to give him Guru Dakshina. They agreed, and Dronacharya asked them, as a Guru Dakshina, he asked them to seize King Drupada and bring him to him. Everybody tried, but all failed. At last, Dronacharya asked Arjun to do that job. Arjun happily went, and successfully he captured King Drupada and brought him back to his Guru Dronacharya. He offered him as a Guru Dakshina. That time, Dronacharya asked Drupada, "Oh King Drupada, have you remembered once I told you to recall our friendship at our hermitage? That time you told me that a beggar cannot be a friend of a king. Now I own your kingdom as a Guru Dakshina, but I don't want the whole kingdom. So I will give you half portion, you take it and be the king, and the other half I will keep for myself and I will be the king." And I think now I can call you as a friend. Am I right? You also told me that the friendship can only be maintained between two equals. That is why I am asking you now, since we are equal in rank. King Drupada understood and he kept silent. Only he said, "O noble Brahman, O son of Bharadwaj, you are right. As you wish, you do it." He agreed and kept the friendship and returned back to his kingdom. But every moment, the humiliation he got from Dronacharya was killing him. And from that day onwards, he vowed, he took an oath that he would take the revenge on Dronacharya. He came back and then he went to so many Brahmins and requested them to perform a sacred yajna from where he could obtain the divine children. All the Brahmins, they knew the intention of Drupada, so they didn't agree. They couldn't dare to go against Dronacharya. So they didn't agree. At last, King Drupada went to Yaja and Upayaja, two brothers, and requested them. And he also told them his intention. They agreed and they performed the yajna. While performing yajna, they prepared a sacred drink which was supposed to be taken by the queen. But for some reason, the queen was unwilling to drink that at that very moment. So these two Brahmins, they said, "We cannot wait. So this drink should be poured on the Havan Kund," means the sacred fire. So they poured it. The moment they poured the drink, immediately a radiant youth came out from the blazing fire. He was no other than Drushtadimna. When he was born at that time, he had a crown on his head, a natural armor, a bow and sword, and an arrow. He was the slayer of Guru Dronacharya. And few minutes later, another girl came out from the Yajna Kund, means Kund, sacred fire, and she was Draupadi. Her other name was Krishna. Krishna was beautiful. She had a dark complexion and her eyes were exactly like lotus leaves. A beautiful fragrance emitted from her body like the blue lotus. She had also beautiful curly and blue color hair. She was so beautiful that nobody can be compared with her beauty. And she was destined to marry all the 5 Pandavas. King Drupada was very happy. After that, he called the Swayamvara. When Draupadi came to marriageable age, he called her Swayamvara. Actually, Drupada wanted to give the marriage of Draupadi only to Kirti. Kirti means the other name of Arjun. He wanted that, but he never told this thing to anyone. And after announcing the Swayamvara, he built the huge hall as a marriage hall. That marriage hall was attached to so many other rooms where the guests and the suitors of the contest can be accommodated easily. He just kept for 16 days the festivities was going on. He also kept the beautiful sights and sports for the entertainment of the public. People of Panchal were very happy. They enjoyed every moment too much. The marriage hall was decorated with heavy flowers and the precious gemstones and also with diamonds. All the princes, the monarchs, the kings were invited from the different kingdoms. When they heard about the Swayamvara of Draupadi, every single one was aspirant to win of Draupadi. At last, the day approached, and the musicians, the other instruments like the bugle, the conch, the other instruments that began with full volume, and the assembled visitors and the spectators, they also noised too much. They were so happy, excited. When everyone came there, everyone reached there, they saw the marriage hall. On the center of the marriage hall, the whatever Drupada announced, that was kept. Drupada proclaimed that one who strings the bow and shoots the arrows at the target, he can win over the hands of Draupadi. But what was that target? He kept a rotating machine, and on the center of the machine there was a hole. An artificial fish was attached to it. Again, water on a bowl was kept on the ground. The condition was one has to see the reflection of the fish on the bowl, and then he would shoot the 5 successive arrows upward. That arrow has to pass through the aperture, means the hole, and hit the target, that was the fish. This was the condition. When the valiant princes and the aspirant princes and the kings and the monarchs, they saw this, they thought that it is next to impossible. It was so difficult and hard. However, they had come and they faced the contest. At that time, Drushtadumna, holding the hand of his sister Draupadi, came forward, and Draupadi ascended the dais. There, Drushtadumna, when all the music and the Brahmins, they started chanting the mantras. When Drushtadumna started, everything was stopped. Means the music, the chanting, everything was stopped, and Drushtadumna started in a deep voice. He said, "O assembled kings and the princes, here is the bow, and there are the arrows, well decorated arrows, and the target is placed high. Now you have to shoot the face looking at its reflection on the bowl of water on the bowl, and the arrows successively should be shot upward. Not only that, the arrows without any mistake should pass through the moving machine, moving disc, in the whole aperture, and hit the bird, the fish." This one he announced. Then he announced the lineage and the names, the achievements of all the princes one by one, so that Draupadi could come to know who is who. She heard everything. The feast began. Then one after another, the prince stood from their seat, and they went towards the bow. It was a huge steel bow. Some of the princes, when they tried to hold the bow. With the force of that bow, they fell on the ground. And not only that, their crown, their garland, everything was loosened. They felt ashamed. Even among the invited princes, Duryodhan, Dushasan, Jayadratha, and so Karna, and so many other great high-souled princes were also there. They also attended and they went to try their luck. Krishna and Balram, they also seated in another place with the Jadus, but they didn't come to participate in the contest. They came to witness the Swayamvara. And when all the princes fell, Karna stood to try. He could easily string the bow, but he was so unfortunate. Within a hair breadth, he missed the target. Everybody just started a great noise. They thought that he was going to perform it, but he couldn't do it. At last, he also came and took his seat. So the princess started saying that this is impossible. Probably King Drupada has called all of us to humiliate. This is not possible by anyone. When everybody fell, suddenly there stood a young youth from the Brahmin group. Everybody's eyes turned towards him. He came. While he stood, the Brahmins also started shouting. They divided into two groups and they shouted, "Hey, what for you are going to try your luck?" When Karna, Duryodhan, Jayadratha, such warriors have held, what for you are going to try? Do you want to humiliate us in front of all these people? Sit down. And the other Brahmins, they said that, look, he looks so gorgeous. His face is so radiant. And the way he walks, it seems that he will win. Let him go, let him try. Then the Brahmin youth went towards the bow, stood there and asked, "O Drushtadimna, can a Brahmin participate in the contest?" Then Drushtadimna said, anybody can participate, whether you are a Brahmin, a Kshatriya, a Jakhya, a Rakshas, anyone who would perform this task will be the rightful husband of Draupadi. He agreed, and then the Brahmin youth looked at the bow with respect. Then he gave a round to the bow, and closing his eyes, he prayed deeply to Lord Krishna. Because you know who was that youth? He was Arjun. So very deeply he prayed to Lord Krishna, because all of them were in a disguise. Nobody should come to know that he was Arjun. That's why. Then, without any problem, he stringed the bow and looked at the reflection of the fish, and upwardly he shot successively 5 arrows which went through the aperture and hit the fish. And the whole disc with the fish fell down on the ground. Looking at this, there was a huge uproar among all the sides. They couldn't believe it that a youth from the Brahmin side could do it. Half of the Brahmins, they just waved the upper garments out of joy. And at the same time, the Kshatriyas shouted, because that was an insult for them. So they shouted, "This is not fair. A Brahmin cannot participate in a princess wedding. What for the Brahmin had come and he can't marry to Draupadi?" At that time, some of the Brahmins, they also said, some of the Kshatriyas, they said, if the princess can't choose any Kshatriyas, why she is not dying and why she is not jumping up to the fire? Let her die. Like this the uproar came. Now Bhimsen could come to know that there must be a good conflict, means confrontation. Looking at Arjuna's success, Yudhishthir and Nakul Sahadev, they went hurriedly to the porter's house to give this good news to their mother. But Bhim stayed back because he was expecting some conflict. Then Salwa, he came forward and fought with Bhima, and Karna fought with Arjun. While the fighting was going on at that time, after some time, Karna said, "O Brahman, who are you? Are you someone in disguise? Nobody can face to my weapons. Only Krishna, Arjun can fight with me. And Lord Parsuram, who are you? How can you dare to fight with me?" But, however, Krishna and Balaram, they both intervened, and they asked for peace. They maintained peace. Here Draupadi, when she saw that the fights started, she came close to Arjun, holding his Arjun's dear, what is that called? Garment. She immediately put the garland on Arjun's neck and stood close to Arjun. After some time, Arjun and Bhimsen, they both proceeded towards the porter's house. When they were going to porter's house, Drushtadumna followed him, but without their knowledge. From a distance, he observed who were they. Then he saw that 5 Pandavas with an elderly lady, and he was sure that they were no other than 5 Pandavas and Mother Kunti. So immediately he ran towards his palace and said everything to his father. He said, "Oh father, the boy who owned Draupadi's hand is no other than Arjun." And King Drupada was extremely happy. He became so happy. At last he called all the 5 brothers, and Yudhishthir confided that they are 5 Pandavas. But one news he gave, that they are going to marry Draupadi. King Drupada was very much surprised. He said, "How can one princess marry to 5 Pandavas?" That time Yudhishthir said, "O king, we have taken a vow that whatever we will get, we will share among ourselves. And not only that, when we went to give the good news to our mother, without looking, our mother said, 'Share it among yourselves.' And we cannot go beyond her words, neither our oath, vow. Thus, we are going to marry Draupadi." Somehow, King Drupada was very happy, and at last he gave the marriage with much pomp and ceremony to all the 5 Pandavas. What next? That I will tell you in my next episode. Thank you so much for watching the TV.